It has been hot the last couple weeks, but some cooler weather is finally on the way. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jennifer Meckles.
And I'm Kyle Clark. DIA hit 95 degrees today. 9th time that has happened this month. We are going to cool down tomorrow, but Lauren Robinson, we also could be in for some storms.
Oh, that's right. We will continue to watch for those storm chances through the next couple of afternoons and into the next couple of evenings. But we will be seeing those temperatures drop quite a bit for our Saturday. It'll only last one day. We're back into the 90s by Sunday. Now, we take a look at our HD Doppler radar. We saw some scattered showers and isolated storms earlier this afternoon. Now they're becoming a bit more isolated and mostly sticking to the northern half of the state. We zoom into the Front Range here where you can see Denver has stayed mostly dry. Some light showers went through earlier this evening. Right now, we're just looking for some storms passing through Fort Collins into Greeley. Most of these will continue their way out and die in the process. Now, our afternoon highs were pretty hot. We actually got to 96 degrees today at DIA. Most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains saw those 90s, except for further south where we got into the triple digits. We saw 101 in Pueblo, 102 in Lamar. The high country was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then more upper 80s across the western slope. Right now, we're at 81 degrees, still pretty warm for 9 o'clock in the evening. Dry but cloudy. Light winds coming in from the north at around 8 miles per hour. And coming up in my full 7-day forecast, we're going to talk more about those very spotty lingering storms tonight. We have a brief cool down for this weekend and the heat returns for 4th of July. All of those details for you just ahead.
Lauren, thank you. An 83-year-old from Englewood was convicted today of killing his wife and his daughter with an axe.
9 News reporter Ria Joss spoke with a woman who has been working with the victim's family in India for the past year. Ria?
She's been following the trial and says the reason why he killed them is still unclear. Originally, Reginald McLaren told police he planned to kill them to prevent the family from becoming homeless after he lost his job. But evidence showed the family did have money. Regardless, the jury only deliberated for 2 hours before returning that guilty verdict.
This is Bethany when she was a nurse in the Indian Army. This is Ruth right here when she was young. The only pictures that the jury got to see of them were the pictures when they were dead.
For the past week, Ann Hines was in court for Reginald McLaren's trial, the 83-year-old who killed and dismembered his wife Bethany and his daughter Ruth in March of 2023.
The hardest part for me was hearing how many times he had struck his daughter with an axe.
Hines didn't know them when they were alive.
A few days after the murder, the Arapahoe County Coroner's Office contacted Colorado-Nepal Alliance to see if we could assist finding family members of the two victims. By the end of the week, we had found their relatives in India.
Hines is the executive director of the Colorado-Nepal Alliance. She's been keeping in touch with the family for more than a year. On Friday, she was able to tell them a jury convicted Reginald McLaren.
The prosecution had a very good case, and they just reiterated all the pre-planning that had gone into these murders. He had purchased the axe, the saw, and the trash cans. I think I was hoping to try to understand why these two murders had occurred, but I left without any answers.
No answers, and even less closure.
I thought maybe having him convicted might make me feel better, but I don't. Ruth and Bethany are still deceased.
Hines read a note from one of Bethany's close friends in India.
I have known Pavitra Rana, also known as Bethany, for the last half a century. We both belong to Kalimpong, a small hill town in eastern India. She was warm and friendly, but reserved socially.
Wanting to make sure Bethany and Ruth are now remembered for who they were, not how they died.
May their souls rest in peace.
Hines says the victim's family is planning a trip here this summer to visit the grave sites. Hines plans on meeting with them, and she says she's excited about it. McLaren's sentencing is scheduled for July 10th. Ria Cha, 9 News.
The widow of a man shot by Aurora police while he was on his knees wants to see what led up to that shooting and what happened after. Kylan Lewis was swarmed by an Aurora police SWAT team serving a warrant on May 23rd. Seconds after officers rushed out of their trucks, Lewis was on the ground bleeding from a gunshot wound to the stomach. Aurora Police Chief Heather Morris says an officer saw an object in Lewis's hand and fired one shot. The object was a phone. Lewis died 3 days later in the hospital. His widow, Andrice Lewis, has seen heavily edited body camera video released by police. She and her attorney argue that what her husband did was just what he was told, and that it wasn't like he was pointing the phone in his hand in a way that somebody could mistake it for a gun.
He's backing up because he turned around and he sees 4 cops with guns in his face. So, of course, naturally, he got a little shook up, and he has his phone in his hand, and he puts his hands up, and he starts going down towards his knees. Like you can see, he starts complying.
She still asks questions about the portions of the video that have not been released publicly, especially in the moments after the shooting, when the chief says officers rushed to help Kylan. Spokesperson for APD told us that the family was given the opportunity to view the video, but declined. The officer who shot Lewis is on paid administrative leave, which is standard while the shooting is investigated.
9 News Investigates has learned that a man accused of shooting 3 people at random in Aurora last night was previously accused in 2 different cases of attempted murder and assault. Aurora police say 34-year-old Austin Benson shot a woman in her car last night on South Eagle Circle near Quincy and Smoky Hill, and she suffered life-threatening injuries. Then police say Benson drove to South Crystal Way and shot 2 more people, a man and a woman who were out walking, leaving them with serious injuries. Officers arrested Benson just a block away at an apartment complex on East Tufts. People we spoke with say Benson lives there. One man told us he called police when he looked through his peephole of his front door and saw Benson fighting with 2 people outside.
There's only a door between you. You're looking out of it, but it felt very personal. Absolutely. I mean, everything was happening a few steps away. A lot of the physical stuff that we saw was, right in the doorway here.
Benson is now charged with attempted murder. Police say they found 3 guns in his apartment. Back in July of 2018, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office accused Benson of randomly shooting at cars on Rampart Range Road. Nobody got hurt back then. And then in December 2019, Benson was accused of assaulting a hospital security guard by spitting on him. He was also accused of punching a nurse. Court records show both cases were dismissed in 2023 after Benson was deemed incompetent to stand trial.
Tonight, traffic on I-70 is flowing normally again. This morning, there was a whole situation. A semi full of carrots caught fire in the Floyd Hill area. Happened about half-mile west of the US 6 Highway 40 exit. The fire in the carrot truck spread to the grass off the interstate, but firefighters quickly got a handle on that. Scene was cleared by 2 o'clock. No one was hurt.
Bad day to be hauling food. Investigators are trying to figure out what caused a train car to derail in Denver today. This happened in the Ballpark District near Inca Street. BNSF says that train was carrying grain when it tipped over. Nobody got hurt. At last check, crews were out there still trying to clear up that mess.
A new interchange on E470 in Aurora is now open. This is a big project, cost $870 million. The city of Aurora, Adams County, the Aurora Highlands, and E470 worked together to get it done. The goal is to eventually open up 21,000 acres for development north of I-70, south of the airport. Developers have said that within the next 10 to 12 years, 60,000 people could live there.
Since a lot of the other developers are starting to come into the ARTA with us, we're able to work on that connectivity and the road projects together. And when we put in roads, the other developers are putting their infrastructure, their utilities under the roads typically. So development is prime for all of us right now. So we're all kind of working at the same time. You'll see a lot of development out here, not just with Aurora Highlands, but north and south of us as well.
Right now, about 1,000 people live in Aurora Highlands. They opened up their first public school last year.